you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. My name is Millie, and on this channel, I talk about yarn. So I share my knitting and crochet journey. I share my finished objects, my whips, yarn hauls, and I have a few knitting tutorials. But today I'm going to be talking about socks. So this year I decided to join the summer sock camp that is led by Kayla of the Crazy Sock Lady YouTube channel. And if you haven't checked out that channel, go check it out. It's really nice. So I decided to do the summer sock camp. I typically don't do knit alongs or crochet alongs, but this year I decided to join the summer sock camp. And so I've been working on socks, and I have a shawl that's a whip, but I haven't touched it in the last 4 weeks. And so these last 2 weeks, since I was here last, which is 2 weeks ago, I've been working exclusively on socks. And I've been able to finish 2 pairs, and the 2 pairs that I'm going to be showing you were whips last time. And I've been able to finish them, and I've been able to cast on a new sock. And I'm almost done with one of those, one of the new socks that I've cast on. But I also acquired some yarn because I was wanting to knit some stripy socks, but I realized that I didn't have stripy, self-striping yarn in my stash, or the self-striping yarn I have in my stash is from Croy Socks, which I don't really enjoy working with it because it's a little bit scratchy and woolly, and I had already knitted with it several socks maybe last year or the beginning of this year, and I was ready for something that is a little bit more softer. But I also was just wanting to do some stripy socks, and so I bought a few different sock yarns which I'm going to be sharing with you. But first, I'm going to show you real quick my finished projects, and you've already seen them as whips, but I'm just going to show them to you because I feel like this is really good progress. And I'm going to look down here so that I can update you, or at least can look at the yarn that I used. So I save. I do a lot of, I do all my, I log all my projects on my Ravelry account. And so that's where I put all my notes. I don't write notes in my notebook because I feel like I might not keep up with them easier. But I prefer Ravelry because I'll just grab my iPad and go in there and look at different notes from like previous projects. Because like for my socks, I have gotten to where I'm working this one sock, the same measurements, the same stitch count, and all that. So I just go back to my private notes, because you can do private notes on Ravelry, and look at all the little details that I have added. So the first sock that I finished is this one, which was a whip last time. So I have both of them finished. And this is a toe-up sock, and I used jowl. The color is, let me see, the color is burgundy is the color that, this is burgundy color. And this is jowl superwash, which is 75-25. So 75% wool and 25% nylon or polyamide. And I discovered this yarn recently, and this is the first finished object that I have using this yarn, and I like it. And it knitted up really well, and I had a ton left over. And so it comes in 50-gram balls, and I have a lot of leftover from this pair. And then up here, this is, I believe this is Knit Picks straw. And then a little bit of this white over here is Madeline Tosh twist, which was in my stash. So that is my first finished pair. And I just need to weave in these ends, and I don't look forward to that. But I think I need to stop and weave in my tails because I'm letting those pile up, and I know that I'm gonna be frustrated once I sit down to weave in all my socks, which is like a ton of pairs that all need to have their tails woven in and also blocked. And so that's my first finished pair. And then the second pair I've already shown you as well. And I'm carrying them in these little bags that I found on Amazon. I think they're supposed to be for makeup, but I am using them for socks. They're ideal. So this is a little bit bigger, and I think this is the one that I like most. And then there's this tiny one, but it fits a pair of socks. So if you're interested in knowing where I got this, leave a comment and I'll send a link. So they are meant for makeup, but I'm using them for my sock knitting projects, which is super, super cute. And so this sock, I'm carrying it in this bag, and this is what it looks like. And on a sock blocker, it's actually going to look better. So that is the second pair. And this is Cascade Heritage. And let me see if I can find the color. So I'm gonna look through my notes again because that's where all the information is. So it's Cascade Heritage 5720 Deep Ocean. That is what this is. And I like this yarn so much for different things. So I've knitted a sweater with it. I've knitted a ton of socks, and I have quite a bit of it in my stash because it's also affordable and it's really soft, and it comes in a lot of colors. So I have a ton of these. And then this one is La Bien-Aimée Super Socks, and this is the color is called Quail. And I don't know, it might be a discontinued color because I found it on the sale rack in my local yarn store. And so I grabbed it not because of the color, but because it was on sale, because it retails for $36 and this was going for $27. And so that's why I liked it. So I grabbed it. And I also like working with this sock. I discovered it recently, and it's really soft and squishy, and it feels really good on my fingers when I'm knitting with it. And so this is right now one of my favorite sock yarns to work with. And so that is the second finished pair. So, and I do my socks, all my socks are done toe up. And so I start with 16 stitches, and then it increased to 68 if they are mine. And if I'm working on someone else's socks, depending on the size of their foot, then the increase will change. But they all start over here. And these specific ones are 68 stitches. And then from the toe to where I start to increase for the heel, I have 40 rows. And then I don't usually count up here, but I'm thinking it's maybe like another 20 rows. And then over here, I did 65. And then this is 25 for the curve. So I'm using these stitch markers every 10 rows so that I can make sure my socks match. So every 10 rows, I put a stitch marker. And you can find these stitch markers on Amazon in bulk. I think I bought a batch of these, about 750 pieces of these at a very good price. So, and they work really well for this kind of thing, because you can just add them every 10 rows or every 20 rows, depending on what you like. And that will help you keep track of your socks, and that way they match, and you're not trying to measure. I think it's easier to count rows as you go rather than to count them after you're done. So, and it also kind of motivates me because every 10 rows, I put a stitch marker, and then I know that I need to go to 65. And if I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm like, oh, I'm so close to the end. So it's kind of a motivation for me. And then whenever I cast on my socks, I always put a stitch marker on the side that I start. So you cast on 16 and then 16, and then you start going in the round. So on the side that I start going in the round, or the side that I begin, I always put a stitch marker or at least a progress keeper. And that way I know that that is where my beginning of the round is. So for example, if I'm doing like a stitch pattern, then I know where to start and where to end. So that is my 2 finished objects for the week, which is, I believe these are sock number 4 for the summer. I haven't been doing really fast knitting, but it's also because I work full time and I don't have as much time to knit as I would like. So I only knit in the evening and also on my day off and my lunchtime. And sometimes I'm not even able to knit during my lunchtime. So, but so far I like the progress that I have made. And I was able to cast on a new pair, which I have in this cute bag, and I have made some progress with it, and this is what it looks like. I'm gonna put it on the sock blocker so that I can see it nicely. And as you can see, I used 2 16-inch circular knitting needles to knit my socks. So this is my current whip, and this is what it looks like. And so I was really wanting to make like a light colored sock, and so I liked this yellow so much. And so I decided to buy enough to make 1 sock, but I know I'll have leftovers. So this is Madeline-Tosh leftover from a previous sock that I just finished the other day. I don't remember the color because this is a very old yarn, like it's been in my stash for years. And then this is Cascade Heritage, and this is jar wool. So this is the Madeline-Tosh. And then this is the Cascade Heritage. And let me look up the color for you. Once again, going to my projects because that's where I have all my notes. So that's Cascade Heritage 5659 Primavera. That's the name of it. And then this one, on the label or online, it was being called buttermilk. But when I went to enter that information in Ravelry, because Ravelry has most of the colors, once you enter the yarn that you're using, it will typically pull up that company and you can choose the color. They didn't have buttermilk. They only had yellow, so that's what I put on my notes. But this is the yarn. Very summery, or even, it was kind of giving me some spring vibes, but I also really wanted something that was bright and light. And so that is what I came up with. And on the first ball of yarn, that's how much I have left. So I'm gonna use up this and then break in this one, and I know that I'll still have a lot of it left, and I might do scrappy socks using all these yarns that I have left over. But so far, this is what it's looking like. And then this jowl comes with this little thread that is supposed to reinforce your heels. And that is what I did. And then I forgot to like transition nicely over here. So it looks like there's a little curve over here. But I think that blocking is going to fix that. So this is a reinforced heel, and I'm really eager to see how it's going to wear. But it doesn't feel any heavier that I've used the extra thread here to reinforce the heel. And I'm gonna see how that works out once I start wearing the socks, and then I'll let you know if it's worth it. But it comes with the yarn. So in here is the thread comes in there, and I think that this is going to be enough to make the other sock, so I won't have to use the new one that's in here. And so I'll save it for other socks because I'll have leftovers. And if I do the heel in this color, then I'll use the thread to reinforce the heels. So that is my whip. And I'm hoping that I can finish this today so that I can cast on a new set with my new self-striping yarn. And I'm doing a 2x2 ribbing for the top of the foot, and then I'm going to do the I'm doing 2x2 ribbing for the calf. And then once I'm done with about 40 stitches, I'm going to stripe it with these two colors up here. And I think I'll finish the sock either with the green or the white. So far, that is really good progress. And I'm gonna just keep on working on it, and hopefully, actually, my goal today is to finish these socks so that I can cast on a new one. So once I'm done here, I'm just gonna go get a cup of tea, put on my audiobook, and continue working on it. And now I'm gonna show you all the new stripy sock yarn that I've acquired, and I'm so excited about, and I'm feeling motivated to keep working on socks because I have all this new yarn that I am excited to try.
Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop.
Let's talk about the new yarn that I have acquired recently, more sock yarn. So for the first time, I bought this Paintbox yarn, and I've seen it a lot online, but I've never used this before. And I saw this, I think it kept showing up on my feed because I was looking at different sock yarns, and of course, those are the ads that kept coming on my feed. And I saw this stripy sock yarn from Paintbox yarns, and I decided to give it a try. And I got 2 of these. I hope you can see them clearly. And then I got this one because I'm really trying to control myself and not buy too much yarn because I already have a big stash. But I don't have self-striping yarn. I have like toners and solid colors. And so this is a 100-gram ball. It's a 75 superwash wool and 25% polyamide. And there's 426 yards. So there is enough to finish a pair of socks and have some leftovers. And this color is called Rainbow. And it's a fine number 2, and so recommended needle size is 2 to 3 millimeters, US 0 to 2. So that is what that one looks like. And then this one is called Meadow, and here it says Fair Isle, but on the picture it looked like just stripes that were kind of faded a little bit, and I'm hoping that it's those stripes because this was, from the picture, this was my favorite. And then this also looked really nice, but I'm hoping that it's simply stripes and not Fair Isle, because that was the picture that they had on the website. And I got this from yarn.com, and they were on sale. I don't know if they're still on sale, but when I got them, they were on sale, and they came pretty quickly. So that is the first little yarn haul that I got. And then I have another yarn haul here. So this is from Must Stash Yarn. And Must Stash Yarn they make the most beautiful stripy yarns. And I really fell in love with this color. I saw some socks that someone had knitted on YouTube. I was watching their channel, and now I can't remember the name of the channel. If I remember the name, I'll look it up and leave a link down below, because I love watching that channel, and she makes a lot of socks. She's also doing the summer sock camp, and I think she's only knitting socks. So every week she posts her new finished project and her new cast on, and they're such an inspiration for me. And so she had knitted socks with this colorway, and this colorway is called She's a Rainbow. Such a beautiful color. And I went to Must Stash Yarn, and they didn't have it. It's out of stock. And I messaged the owner, and she said that she's going to restock the yarn, but I could not wait. So I found it online, and I got it from a shop. It's called 4 Pals. It's in Florida, and they had it in stock. And so that is where I ordered, and it came really quickly. But I was also gonna buy like one of them, and then of course I got carried away. I decided to buy 2, and then if I spent, I think, $95, I was gonna get free shipping. So I decided to buy one of their, I think this is their store dyed yarn. It's called Emma's Yarn. And this one is practically perfect socks, and it's a 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 100 grams, 400 yards. And it's called Groove Roots. So I decided to add that so that I can get free shipping. So I've ended up with another, this is a toner. It's toner, it's not self-striping, but I was also looking for something green. I don't have a lot of green in my stash, and I'm feeling green, like I want green yarn, because for some reason I'm feeling like this is a season that I'm really loving all the green, all the shades of green. And so this is what I decided to buy. It's like some green and some blue. It's kind of fading in there, but that's what I bought. I don't know if I'm gonna turn it into socks or if I'm gonna make a shawl with it. I don't know, but I love these colors, and I can't wait to cast on something with it. It might end up being a shawl, so I forgot to say what this is. So this is 75-25. So it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 460 yards, 100 grams. And it's called Perfect Must Match Set. 2 in identical skeins twisted together. So I didn't even know that, but apparently, and I learned that from watching somebody else on YouTube, apparently these are 2 skeins twisted together. So when I wind this yarn, I'm gonna get 2 cakes that are identical so that my socks match. How cool is that? So I am really excited, and this is the sock that I'm going to cast on once I'm done with my once I'm done with the whip that I'm working on. So I am really inspired to finish that so that I can cast on this. And I have one skein of must starch yarn in my stash. So I have one blue that I bought a long time ago at the DFW Fiber Fest, and I have never used it. And so this is just going to be another addition, but I think I'm gonna, once I knit one pair, I might knit this for my daughter, but I wanna see how this works up. But from all those pictures that I saw, it's a really beautiful stripes. And so I am really excited and eager to cast on these socks. So that is the second set of yarn that I bought. And then I did, I went to Premier Yarns, and I also got carried away with free shipping. And so I ended up buying a bunch of yarn, most of it sock yarn, and I'm gonna show it to you. And some of it was going, they're not gonna make the yarn anymore, so I decided to grab it and just have it in my stash, because I know that sometimes when they stop making yarn, people are always looking for like the yarn to finish a project. And so I'm gonna have it in my stash and maybe share it with someone sometime in the future. And so the first yarn that I want to share with you from Premier is this Farmstead. I hope you can see the name. And I've been eyeing this yarn since it came out a while back, and I finally decided to buy 2 colorways so that I can test them. And the reason that I got this, it's because it's acrylic. So it's acrylic sock yarn, which is 235 yards, super fine, 50-gram ball, 93% acrylic, 7% PBT. I don't know what PBT is. And this colorway is purple onion. And this is how it knits up. And of course, I'm gonna share this with you once I have it, I make the socks. But I've been looking at this because when I'm knitting socks for gifting, sometimes I don't always gift wool socks, because I know that people forget and throw them in the washer, and I don't want that to happen to socks. And so I always need some acrylic, but it's also become hard to find acrylic sock yarn since Joanne went out of business. Hobby Lobby used to carry similar yarn, but they discontinued it. And so I think I have, in my stash, I have some that I had gotten from Hobby Lobby, but there is only like enough to make a pair of socks. And so that is why I decided to buy these and try it out. And I also love these colors so much. And so I bought the purple onion, that's the colorway. And then I bought fruits, this is the strawberry. Very pretty. So this I'm going to make for myself because I love a strawberry motif. And I think it was trending last year. And I love fabric that has strawberries on it, or even a bag that has strawberries motif on it. And I actually made a glass, water glass for myself using the Cricut, and I put strawberries on it. So this is going to be mine, and it's also red. And if you've been here long enough, you know that red is my favorite color. As a matter of fact, I have a red cup, and so it's my favorite color. So these are going to be mine, but they're just gonna go to the queue of all the socks that I'm gonna be making this summer. So I don't know when I'm gonna make these, but these I've used similar yarn and it knits up really fast. In fact, the first pair of socks I ever knitted were knitted using this kind of yarn. It was an acrylic yarn from Hobby Lobby way back. So this is strawberries, and this is what I'm gonna make this for myself. So these two are the acrylic, and then they had a lot of this yarn is discontinued. So this is called Zesty Sock, and this is also stripy but very subtle. And I've been looking at this yarn on Premier, and then every time I go there, I'm like, you do not need any more yarn. And so I'll have it in my cart, and then I'll just abandon the cart. But this went on sale because it's being discontinued. So initially it was retailing for $19.50, but as of the time that I ordered this, it was going for $6. So that is what it's called, Zesty Socks, but it's going to be discontinued. And it has very subtle stripes, and this is 100 grams, 437 yards. So this plenty to make socks and have leftovers. And it is, let me see, 75% superwash wool and 25%, so it's 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide, or what you'd call nylon, and made in Turkey. Very, it kind of doesn't feel like merino wool. It feels more like regular wool. It's not soft. I can feel the wool in it. And so I got, this colorway is called Nostalgia. And then I don't know how many of those Nostalgias I got, because I got, I think, each colorway. And for some of them I got two because I was trying to get free shipping. So I kept adding things. I think for Premier it's 75. If you order $75 worth, you get free shipping. And this is also Nostalgia. And this is Cupcake. So these are, the colorway here is Nostalgia. And then I believe this is Cupcake. Actually, that's Nostalgia. So I got 3 of these because I intend, my plan is to save them in my stash, because that's going out of, they're discontinuing that yarn. So that's why I decided to buy a bunch of it. And I'm always knitting socks, so it's going to be come socks down the line. So this is Cupcake, 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 Cupcake. Oh, I got a lot of Cupcake. So that is what it looks like. And these are very subtle stripes. So it's ideal for socks, and you can use one of these colors, stripy parts, to do the heels. So you can look for a coordinating like this color and do the heels and the toes and the calves with it. So that is the other batch. And then I am wanting to knit another ranunculus. I have already knitted 3, and I've been planning to knit another one. And I mentioned earlier that I'm loving green right now. And so I got this cotton sprout DK in the color green, but I'm sure that's not the name of the yarn. It's called Canopy. And this one is a DK weight, number 3, 230 yards, 100% cotton, 100 grams. So I got 4 of these. So they usually come like this. And so these are going to end up being either, when I got them, my plan was to do a ranunculus, but I'm also looking at other summer t-shirts, and so I might cast on these towards the end of August and knit either the ranunculus, because I can knit that really fast and I like it, I like the fit of it, or I'll look for another t-shirt. I have a bunch of t-shirts in my library that I'm planning on making, but haven't had enough time. So that is how much yarn I bought, and most of it was because I want stripy socks that I'm not, I wanted stripy yarn to make stripy socks, but I also ended up adding some extra stuff to my cart so that I don't have to pay for shipping, which is kind of happens to me a lot, and I end up with so much yarn. But that is all I have to share with you today. Leave a comment below and let me know what you're working on. Are you participating in the summer sock camp? How is your summer going? Are you knitting? Are you crocheting? Are you working on socks? Are you doing toe-up socks if you're a sock knitter? Or are you doing calf down? So whatever you're working on, whether you are knitting or you're crocheting, I hope that you're having a wonderful summer and you're enjoying your crafting and your knitting, your crafting, your sewing, whatever it is that you're working on. And I've started to share what I am reading because, and I almost forgot that, because whenever I am knitting, I am listening to an audiobook. If I'm not watching YouTube, I am listening to an audiobook, and I have a new audiobook that I discovered recently, and that is what I am listening to, and I'm gonna show it to you here. Let me see if I can go to my shelf. So I'm listening to The Fruit of the Drunken Tree. That's the book. And it's by Ingrid Lojas Contreras. That's the author's name. I am 80% in, and it's such a good listen, and I'm really enjoying it. So I know that most knitters and crocheters are also avid readers. So leave a recommendation down below if you have any recommendations, because I am looking for books that are set outside the US, because that is the book club that I am currently in. So we read books that are set outside the US, and sometimes it's hard to find a book that I really, really like. But this one, I stumbled on this one and I really like it. And I'm almost, I should be done with it today so that I can go to the next book that I'm considering for the book club. But if you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments down below. So that is all I have for you today, and until next time, happy knitting, happy reading, and happy crocheting.